itu, dan saya harus optimis. Tidak boleh pesimis gitu ya, dengan berbagai tantangannya ya. Dan dengan cara itu saya pikir akan terjadi perubahan yang besar di negara kita.
Maju terus Ombudsman Republik Indonesia.
Harus dan tidak punya pilihan lain.
Pak Amsulian, terima kasih banyak untuk waktunya.
Terima kasih kembali.
Sukses untuk Ombudsman
sama
dan Pak
Anda juga dan teman-teman lain supaya sukses terus.
Sampai berjumpa kembali.
Terima kasih.
Pemirsa, demikian perbincangan bersama dengan Ombudsman Republik Indonesia. Ada Bapak Amsulian Rifai selaku Ketua. Kita membahas mengenai bagaimana langkah dari Ombudsman mengawal pelayanan publik Republik Indonesia. Saya Prisa Samudatu pamit undur diri. Sampai jumpa kembali. WHO gives emergency approval for Sinovac and Sinopharm vaccine. Telkom to distribute 80% of 2020 net profit as dividends. Hello, good afternoon, viewers. Market Headlines is ready to provide you a number of informations from business, economic, and capital market sector. And as the pandemic is still ongoing, we will provide you the latest COVID-19 information. So please stay safe by taking some simple precautions, such as physical distancing, wearing a mask, avoiding crowds, cleaning your hand, and having less mobility. With me, Claranta Wijaya, and this is Market Headlines. As our Minister Eric Thohir revealed that the two imported vaccines used in Indonesia, Sinovac and Sinopharm, has been recognized by the World Health Organizations. By the certifications, it has a potential to including going to Umrah and Saudi Arabia.
State-owned enterprise Minister Erick Thohir said that he was happy that the two imported vaccines used in Indonesia, namely Sinovac and Sinopharm, had now been recognized by the World Health Organization. According to him, it is one of the opportunities so that the Umrah trip to the Holy Land of Mecca can be reopened.
Saya tentu senang ya hari ini ketika ada dua vaksin kita yang selama ini kita bekerja keras sudah masuk list WHO, yaitu Sinovac, Sinopharm, yang dimana mayoritas memang kita mempergunakan itu. Dan ini mudah-mudahan juga bisa membantu ke depan daripada untuk masyarakat Indonesia bisa juga melakukan perjalanan, ya. Apakah perjalanan di dalam negeri atau di luar negeri.
Erick assessed that the WHO certification of Sinovac and Sinopharm vaccines has the potential to facilitate the travel of Indonesian citizens abroad, including going for Umrah to Saudi Arabia. However, he stressed that the Saudi Arabian government's approval of the Umrah permit is not under his control and the Ministry of SO is. IDX Channel reports.
Regarding the recent increase in positive cases of COVID-19 in Kudus, Central Java, Minister of Health Budi Gunadi Sadikin stated that he would investigate the cause, whether it was related to the new variant of COVID-19.
President Joko Widodo highlighted the increase in positive cases of COVID-19 in Kudus, Central Java, which has occurred recently. Health Minister Budi Gunadi Sadikin said that he would investigate the cause of the increase in active cases, whether it was related to the new variant of COVID-19.
Khususnya beliau juga bertanyakan mengenai meminta laporan yang ada di Jawa Tengah, yaitu Kudus. Memang Kudus akhir-akhir ini terjadi peningkatan yang luar biasa, baik dari sisi kasus konfirmasi maupun juga yang masuk rumah sakit. Kami terus berkoordinasi dengan Pak Gubernur, juga pasien-pasien yang tadinya berasal dari daerah sekitar Kudus seperti Pati, kemudian Sragen, itu juga kita arahkan ke rumah sakit lain di luar Kudus.
The Minister of Health added that the police had implemented restrictions on micro-scale community activities, so it is hoped that the restrictions can isolate Kudus so that the spread of COVID-19 can be stopped. Furthermore, the Ministry of Health has also requested samples to be examined for whole genome sequencing on COVID-19 patients in Kudus. This is done to find out whether the current spike in cases is due to mutations or new variants of the coronavirus. IDX Channel reports.
Moving on to the aviation industry, the latest baseline projections from Angkasa Pura I shows Indonesian air traffic measured in flights will go up 20% and the passengers will go up by 29% in 2021. This is following a good increase in traffic in the second half of the year. The aviation industry was hit by COVID-19 pandemic last year. Angkasa Pura I Vice President Corporate Secretary Handi Heryudi Tiawan revealed that the prohibition and tightening of air travel, which began in the second quarter of 2020, resulted in a very significant decrease in flight traffic. Even so, Angkasa Pura I is optimistic that passenger, flight, and cargo traffic can start to go up starting this year. In 2021, Angkasa Pura I projects an increase in passenger traffic to 40.6 million passengers, an increase of 29% compared to 2020 passenger traffic. Meanwhile, flight traffic is projected to grow 20% to 519,000 flights. Meanwhile, cargo traffic is projected to grow by 2.1% to 445,000 tons in 2021. IDX Channel reported. As a proof that business climate is growing, the IHS Market Indonesia Manufacturing Purchasing Managers Index rose to the fresh record high of 55.3 in May 2021, up from 54.6 in April 2021. 55.3 May PMI again recorded the highest survey record for 3 consecutive months. This shows business conditions that have now strengthened for the 7th month in a row. This was the 3rd straight month in the index registering a new survey record peak amid the improvement in the local COVID-19 situation and acceleration in demand during the Eid al-Fitr holidays. New order output and buying levels all rose at rates of unprecedented in the 10-year survey history. Also, employment returned to grow after falling in the prior of 14 months, and outstanding work eased despite the backlogs rising for the 3rd month in a row. Suppliers' delivery times lengthened for the 17th month running as supply constraints were sustained amid poor weather, shortage of raw materials, and shipping issues. On the cost front, input prices inflation remained elevated, though the pace of increase softened marginally for the 2nd straight month, while selling prices went up for the 7th consecutive month. Looking ahead, according to IHS Markit, sentiment remained upbeat. IDX Channel reported.
Market headlines will be right back after this quick break. Stay tuned.
Bagaimana tanggapan dari pengusaha dengan angka ini?
Tentu membuat kita harus lebih berhati-hati.
Langkah apa yang tepat?
Jadi kita harus bisa menunjukkan kepada masyarakat bahwa vaksinasi itu penting.
Welcome back to Market Headline. High-profile corruption cases keep making daily headlines in Indonesia. And one of the robust one is the corruption case involving the Armed Forces Insurance Company, so-called as ASABRI. And so far, the audit board calculated the case cost state 22 trillion rupiah.
Audit Board of Indonesia concluded that there were deviations from the laws and regulations related to the parties in the management of investment in shares and mutual funds at Armed Forces Insurance Company, so-called as ASABRI. During a press conference with the Attorney General's office, the chairman of Audit Board, Firman Sampurna, said that from 2012 to 2019, the case cost the state of 22.78 trillion rupiah. Previously, the Attorney General has stated that the value of state losses in ASABRI corruption case reached 23.71 trillion rupiah. The Audit Board has also submitted the report regarding investigations result from the period 2012 to 2019 to the Attorney General. IDX Channel reported.
Corruption is a serious problem to Indonesia's development, and combating corruption has been a major priority. And corruption comes in many ways, mostly about bribery, but lately some corruption cases are related to the involvement of investment manager companies. So just like what happens in armed force insurance companies, so-called as ASABRI. Due to mismanagement of investment assets, the case cost the state a huge deal of money. So let's break it down in the first graphic. Through the first graphic, we can see the profile of the ASABRI case. In this case, we can see that the confiscated assets reaching 13 trillion rupiah, and about the state loss, it required 22.78 trillion rupiah, almost 23 trillion rupiah. But however, the investigators will continue to seek out ASABRI as such, which is probably going to be huge because so far ASABRI losses exceed that of Jiwasraya insurance cases. And this alleged corruption case occurred during 2012 to 2019. ASABRI itself has worked with several parties and to regulate and control ASABRI's investment fund in share purchase investment of 10 trillion rupiah, and through the affiliated parties and investment fund in mutual funds of 13 trillion rupiah. Actually, in terms of the mode of crime of the suspects, ASABRI and Jiwasraya case have many similarities. Both are related to the involvement of investment manager companies, and both are costed state huge deal of money. But despite of the type of the corruptions, the Indonesian government bolstered numerous institutions tasked with the fighting corruptions, such as the Corruption Eradication Commissions or KPK and the National Anti-Corruption Courts. The government has incorporated civil society and non-governmental organizations, or we call as NGOs, to the reform process to create multiple networks of the anti-corruption actors. And so far, Corruption Eradication Commissions, or KPK, has investigated many corruption cases and collected state loss. Let's see the commission performance in the next graphic. Here it is. We can see the state loss due to corruption collected by KPK. In the graphic, we can see that in 2015, the earliest stage, it has 123 billion rupiah collected by KPK. But however, if we take a look in 2019, it has a peak season of 6.2 trillion rupiah, which is state loss due to corruptions collected by KPK. And last year, it only amounted 105 billion rupiah. So Indonesian Corruptions Watch recorded that the value of state losses due to corruption handled by Corruption Eradication Commissions of 105 billion rupiah in 2020. But this figure is down by 87% from the previous year, which amounted to 6.2 trillion rupiah. When compared to the other law enforcement agencies, the losses saved by KPK are lower than those achieved by the Attorney General's office. So let's see the comparisons in the next graphic. Through the next graphic, we can see the comparisons. State loss due to the corruptions in 2020. Here it is. We can see two indicators from KPK and Attorney General. KPK has collected 105 billion rupiah state loss, and in the other hand, Attorney General has collected 17.6 trillion rupiah. And the rescue of the potential state losses is based on efforts to recover, control, and optimize assets. Meanwhile, for asset recovery claimed by KPK, the realizations reached around 58.8 of the target of 70 points, while the target is 84%. And through 2020, the Commission has named more than 109 corruption suspects from 91 corruption cases. And the Commission also has carried out around 111 investigations, 75 prosecutions, 92 pending cases, and 108 executions. Even though it sounds like a lot, but Indonesia Corruption Watch marked E score to the performance of the commissions. Why? I'll explain it through the next graphic. Here it is. We can see through the next graphic the corruption cases enforcement by KPK. We can see the comparisons between 2018, 2019, and 2020. You can see that the trend is declining. from 216 suspects in 2018, going forward and downward in 155 suspects, and in 2020, it went down to 75 suspects only. Meanwhile, for the corruption case, it has its peak in 2019 by 62 corruption cases, but however, in 2020, it just only recorded 15 corruption cases. And the Indonesian Corruption Watch calculates the performance of assessment of corruption cases based on the percentage of the ratio of monitored cases to the target for prosecutions of the cases. A score means very good if the percentage of cases handled is 81 up to 100%. And B score is good with the percentage of cases handled by 61 until 80%. And C, we can call it as a fair by 41 up to 80%. Then the value of D score is bad with percentage of a case handled only 21 up till 40%. And E score means very bad with the percentage of cases handled by 0 up to 20%. And seeing this performance, Indonesian Corruption Watch gave an E score to the performance of the Commission since 2020. In addition, ICW explained that the most of the prosecutions for the corruption cases carried out by KPK were the result of the hand arrest operations of 7 cases and the development of 7 cases, while the newly investigated case was reported only 1 case in 2020. And yes, viewers, corruption remains a serious problem, and overall, progress has been so slow. We hope numerous institutions tasked with fighting corruption can reform the process to create multiple anti-corruption actors. Stay with us because market headlines will be right back after this quick break.
Saya Prisa Samodatu membawakan program berita News Screen yang menghadirkan informasi seputar ekonomi maupun juga bisnis dari dalam negeri. Apa yang membuat Ibu Alfonsa sangat tertarik dengan tenun ikat?
Nilainya sangat tinggi. Mereka sendiri menilai bahwa ini suatu mahakarya yang paling tinggi, yang mempunyai nilai filosofi dan peradaban. Jadi ini merupakan satu-satunya identitas suku bangsa kita di sini.
Kalau tenun ikat sendiri, ciri khasnya itu selain dari segi motif, apa?
Tenun ikat ini secara teknisnya dibuat dengan tie-dye teknik atau mengikat dan mencelupi warna.
Hello, I'm Clara Antawijaya. I'm Associate Producer and News Presenter on Market Headlines. As Market Headlines starts at 4:30 p.m., which is in line with the closing market, therefore we summarize market conditions only for you. And my job in here as a journalist, I give concise and accurate news for the audience. And also, being a journalist is not only a job for me, but it is also a passion. Welcome back to Market Headlines. So viewers, let's take a look at Jakarta Composite Index intraday movement. So earlier today, JCI was open at a level of 6,013.53, and then approaching the closing time of the first session, the index was on level of 6,009.9. And the index was showing strengthening trend by the second session closing time. The index was closed at a level of 6,031.57. In short, JCI went up 1.41%. Next, we are going to see the sectoral movement. Leading the dynamics of today's reading, we got technology as the leader of the strengthening trend that went up 9.94%. We got energy that went up 2.93%. Infrastructure that went up 2.16%. And then we got transportations as the leader of the weakening trend that went down 0.12%.
Moving on to the top gainers and top losers, here are the key highlights from today's trading sessions. We got BBCA that went up 1.41%. We got PGAS that went up 7.62%. We got BMRI that went up 1.67%. And Telkom Indonesia that went up 0.29%. Meantime, for the top losers for today's trading sessions, we got MARA that went down 5.29%. We got Bank that went down 0.94%. We got BEKS that went down 6.19%, and ABBA that went down 5.69%. Next, we are going to see the intraday movement of rupiah towards US dollar. So rupiah opened at the level of 14,267. Rupiah was also showing weakening trend towards US dollar. I was closed at the level of 14,269. In summary, rupiah went down 0.06%. The annual general meeting of shareholders of Telkom Indonesia approved 80% of the net profit in 2020, or 16.64 trillion rupiah, to distribute as dividends for shareholders.
The annual general meeting of shareholders of Telkom Indonesia approved the distribution of dividends to reach 16.64 trillion rupiah, or 80% of net profit in 2020. The dividend to be received by the shareholders is 168.01 rupiah per share. Based on an official statement from Telkom management, the annual general meeting of shareholders also determined that 20% of the 2020 fiscal year's net profit, or 4.16 trillion rupiah, would be allocated as retained earnings. Telkom management say that the dividend payment for the 2020 financial year will be made no later than July 2nd, 2021. Shareholders who are entitled to receive dividends are those whose names are recorded in the Telkom Shareholders Register as of June 10, 2021. IDX Channel reports.
Healthcare provider Medicaloka Hermina will carry out a maximum buyback of 12 million shares with a highest price of 5,500 rupiah per share.
For the flexibility of managing long-term capital, Medicaloka Hermina will carry out a maximum buyback of 12 million shares with the highest price of 5,500 rupiah per share. According to the director of Medicaloka Hermina, Aristo Setiawijaya, the buyback of the company shares will be carried out starting from May 31 to June 9, 2021. If we refer to the highest exercise price of 5,500 rupiah per share, and the maximum repurchase of 12 million shares, the amount of funds to be issued by the company is 66 billion rupiah. In addition, he emphasized that the share buyback did not have an impact on the company's revenue, but with the change in the number of outstanding shares, the share buyback plan had an insignificant impact on the company's earnings per share. Aristo also emphasized that share buyback can stabilize prices in the volatile market conditions. The buyback of the company shares by utilizing treasury shares can be sold in the future at an optimal value if the company requires additional capital. IDX Channel reports.
Step aside from market conditions as coronavirus pandemic takes big role on current economic situations. Here is an update data about coronavirus globally. At the news close on market headlines today, please enjoy our next program on IDX Channel.
Your Trustworthy Economic, Business and Capital Market Channel. And don't forget to always wear face mask in public, keeping safe physical distances, and washing hands to break the chain of coronavirus COVID-19. I'm Claranta Wijaya. Have a nice evening and stay safe.